Hey everybody out there in YouTube land. I need these. I I just wanted to first off apologize for my long absence. Um, I've just had a lot of things going on over the last couple of years. I've tried to keep you guys up to date as best I can. I've had a lot of health problems going on. I've taken on other employment. I'm really busy these days. Uh, in fact, I start working my A job at 10 p.m. now. Get done with that at 7. Come home, walk the dog, and then go to my B job from anywhere from 7:38 to say 11 or 2. So I'm working days like that, um, and not getting a whole lot of sleep and stuff. So things have just been hectic. But I think I'm getting used to it now, so I thought that I might go ahead and put a little video up. I totally have not brushed my hair or anything. So, as everybody out there that follows my channel knows, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, right? I watch that every day. When I go to sleep, I queue up about 10 episodes, about 5 next gen, 5 regular, maybe throw in a little special features stuff, and that's my background noise for sleeping. I live in a trailer park, so it's noisy, and I have to sleep during the day, so, and I live with people, which is why I'm trying to be real quiet. So, in short, I like Star Trek. But because I've seen so much Star Trek, and I'm not trying to really speak ill here of Gene Roddenberry or any of the writers of Star Trek, DC Fontana, uh, or any of the writers or directors, Brown and Braga, of Star Trek producers in any way. From about the early to mid 2000s, I really enjoyed writing, so I understand. I mean, I wrote a whole book at work when I was working at a call center back in. I wrote this whole book at work, like filled up like binder after binder after binder of handwritten book. I think it was pretty continuous and such. So I understand that constantly having to write and come up with new stuff is very difficult. You get blocked and stuff. So it's sometimes easier to just hope people don't question things and um, just kind of enjoy it, which is what happens most of the time. In fact, I've only recently, within the last couple of years, after 30 some odd years of watching Star Trek, noticed these things, really. So what I'm going to point out is a little bit of the perhaps bad writing. Original series, the Menagerie episodes. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen these episodes, by the way, and plan on watching them. Captain Christopher Pike is stuck in this wheelchair. He can't speak or anything like that. All he can do is say yes or no with blinks on a light. Now, that's pretty weak. I mean, it is the 23rd, 24th century. They could have easily hooked him up to a computer and he would have a computer voice and be able to speak. Not only that, but there are 2 instances in that show of advanced androids and one advanced android culture that something's making a noise. Of one advanced android culture that could transfer a human brain to an android chassis. So, and I think that episode, I think Mud's Women is before the menagerie. I could be wrong about that. I should probably check that real quick before I seem like I'm talking out of my ass. No. Oh yes, yeah. No, it's not Mud's Women. It's I Mud. So no, the menagerie is before that. So they didn't technically know about those androids yet. Point being, I just think they could have done a little better than a blinking light. I understand for writing's sake, it works better for the story that he can't really, that's all he can do. But at the same time, it's just kind of, it would have made perfect sense to hook his ass up to a computer, put him in some low-tech android, bot or something like that, or via, Bluetooth or wireless or whatever, have him be able to control another, body remotely. There were so many other options for that. Okay, next generation, Geordi's visor. Okay, Geordi's visor allows him to see in that thermal infrared crap, and that's all very cool and all. And they keep going on about not being able to replace his eyes with. They have implants they can do it with, but he would lose some of the visual range. Well, again, I understand that they didn't know that there would be little tiny. Well, even back then there were little tiny cameras that were really high quality. All they have to do is put a camera on Geordi's visor and then have the visor convert that video feed to the same radiation, which I'm sure can be done. That's probably nothing. Like, they could probably figure that out in 20 minutes. And he'd at least be able to see high definition video in regular, like everybody else. And then they might even be able to install some type of software into the visor that would allow it to have depth, so he'd have depth perception. But even if he just had 2D, it would be something, and then he could just switch between the, whatever. He eventually did get the implants, and it looked like they were still pretty visually advanced. He just couldn't deal with the headaches the visor were giving him anymore. He had, it gave him migraines almost constantly. So Wesley Crusher, spends 4 years as an ensign aboard the Enterprise. I mean, he was in battles and shit, and was in charge of departments and occasionally and things like that. And you're gonna make this guy go to the academy for 4 years? I mean, what's that? I'd drop out too. I mean, I'd hope for, like, especially since I'd been taking some academy tests along the way, I would hope I'd have, like, almost no time left. Like, I could go and do, like, a year at the academy just to get some of the other stuff done, maybe 2, and then start my career. Not. I mean, who wants to climb back down the ladder? That right there was just crappy. I think straight up crappy writing. Because it seemed like that's what they were trying to do. Get him academy credit for serving on the Enterprise, but in the end, I understand he screwed up the academy and got held back a year, but even then, he should have just had another year or 2 left. I don't know. That just seemed like really weak kind of writing as well. and there are a lot of examples of that. I wonder if I can think of anything from. I think Deep Space Nine was written a little bit better in some ways, and perhaps Voyager too. It took a while to get used to Voyager, but nothing's really coming to mind right away. Well, I will add this. It's not necessarily poor writing. It's just a lack of it. They haven't explained the translation system very well. The universal translator seems to be able to make it look also like the other person speaking English. It's like they trick your brain into thinking you're seeing something you're not. You're hearing your language. But then what doesn't make sense is they seem to be able to speak their language occasionally if they need to. Like they can turn your translator off, and you can in turn turn theirs off somehow. Like I said, they haven't really explained it, but that seems to be how it works based on how it works. So I wish they would sort of clarify that. I haven't read all the Star Trek books or technical manuals or anything like that. If that's explained in one of those, please let me know. I've looked on Alpha and it isn't really any better explained. So I'd like to see a little bit more there. And then there also seems to be a visual translation system. Like Riker seems to be able to, or anybody seems to be able to work a Klingon or a Romulan or Ferengi computer without a whole lot of trouble. So there must be some type of visual translator going on as well. And that's now, and I also understand that these are things that are going to be inherent about every show. Every show has its weak points. It's poor writing is poor. Anyway, that's that. Goemonronin signing off.